Welcome to the Hustle Wing podcast. Hustle Wing is the leading marketplace for side gigs. Today, I'd like to welcome Idan Meir, co-founder and CEO of RightHear. Idan, did I get that right? Did I pronounce it right this time?
Yeah, Idan Meir. Yeah, you got it right.
Okay. Well, with that, what is RightHear? What is RightHear as a product?
Yeah, so thank you for the opportunity of being here, Perry. I'm excited. RightHear, the shorter version of that is talking signs system or an audio format of signage. We basically turning public spaces into more accessible environments, and I'm probably going to share more what it means in a few minutes. But in 2 words, talking signs.
I like that, the brevity. Speaking of brevity, give us an elevator pitch of what RightHear is.
Yeah, so the elevator pitch is for accessibility managers who are seeking to improve their ADA compliance and boost their customer experience. RightHear is a mobile app that helps people, mainly people who are blind or visually impaired, to acquire better orientation in public spaces. That's like, if you like the elevator pitch. But Perry, let me share with you like two facts that I think really makes it all make a lot more sense. One is that wherever you go, specifically here in the US, you can find Braille signs, like in elevators, usually in public restaurants. Have you noticed that by any chance?
Offices, yes.
Yeah, you did. Okay, they're really all around us. You probably seen like at least 10 of them today, and the listeners or viewers probably seen at least 10 of them only today if they went out of their homes. They're really everywhere. The second fact that most people are not aware of is that over 90% of the blind community cannot read Braille at all. Yeah, so it's about 10% out of the blind community who can actually read Braille, and they're having a hard time to find the sign because you need to know right there in order to really read it. And in the past 3 years, they had another challenge, which is they not necessarily want to touch the signs anymore because of COVID. So yeah, when you talk to this community, what you learn really quick is that when they go out and about, a lot of times it's with another person, mother, a father, a friend. And this is exactly what's RightHear is changing. It's all about providing independence to everyone, not just for the blind, visually impaired community, but for everyone, including people with other orientation challenges like myself, with this whole audible wayfinding system that we've developed.
Well, that brings me to my next question, which is talk to us about your shirt. What does your shirt say?
Independent. I actually get a lot of reactions to it. So if you want that shirt, let me know. I'll send it over to you. And if anyone of the listeners or viewers is interested in that, just contact us and we'll send you one. It's actually tactile. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, you can feel it?
Yeah, you can actually feel it. Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
So I do want to dive in a little bit more before I get to maybe some open roles that you have to talk to our side hustler community about. I want to understand a little bit more about the math. Why do we have Braille everywhere if only 10% of people are using it? How did we end up in this situation?
Yeah, great question. So it all starts with the ADA, the American Disabilities Act, that has been written 33 years ago in a month. And that time, part of this ADA requires signage to be effective for everyone. There's something called effective communication, and signage is just under it. And sign has to be effective, for everyone in terms of, have a different contrast and a different size and a different language, specific language, location, etc. And at the time, in order to have it effective for everyone, the recommendation was let's have it in Braille because we do want to have it accessible for the blind community. And again, 33 years ago, that was the best idea in the room. Today, we all have smartphones, right? People who are blind or visually impaired using smartphones. By the way, they're not just using smartphones. One of our team members is developing the app, right? They're developing apps for smartphones, completely blind. They do incredible things, but somehow the built environment, the spaces we're going around, has been overlooked. And this is exactly where RightHear comes in and changing that. I believe we're creating a new market standard or a new standard of accessibility that is very much needed. And again, not just for the blind community. I mean, where you are in the world right now, Perry?
I'm in the United States. Specifically, I'm in Idaho right now.
Okay. I don't know if you ever had the opportunity to be in a Chinese airport, for example, like I have.
Never.
If you cannot read the language, that's tough, right? So if you can hear the signs around you in your own language, in your own pace, that could be very, very much helpful. Again, even if you're sighted, especially for people with dyslexia, for example, or other orientation challenges. So yeah,
I
that's
would
us.
I would argue, I would even take that a step further.
Yeah.
Being in an airport where you don't know the language, at least there are visual cues. There are certain things visually that are just they resonate or they'll give you a trigger or an idea, but if you can't see anything, shapes, contrast, colors, it's really I can't imagine how hard that would be.
Yeah, yeah, and we have a growing community globally. As of today, we have over 2,000 locations that we've turned accessible, primarily in Israel and Europe. We're now just in the past year and a half started our activity here in the U.S. So more locations are now joining. I'm currently in Maryland. More locations are now joining here, but we're already working. Companies like McDonald's, Hyatt, Pizza Hut, and even government agencies are already, some of them already have that system in place. And hearing the feedback and the reactions from our users, I guess that's the reason we exist. It really is exciting. It really is the type of feedback you're looking to hear when you build a product. Like, oh my God, it's changed my life. So I'm very happy and very proud of the work our team is doing. We have an incredible team, but I won't go to all of them right now. But talking about your community here, Perry, we're always looking for more people to join our movement, if you will, and there could be different ways to do that. The way we like to think about what we're doing is it's not just a regular app or a company. It is an actual movement that we're trying to build that's increasing the awareness of what that we're doing around accessibility and inclusion in general. That's raising up the bars of what to expect from that in the built environment. And from that standpoint, we have we're always opening different positions, not all the time, but in order to help that movement grow, especially as much as it's spreaded across the country or across the world, the better.
So can you thank you for sharing that. Do you have any idea of, maybe some projects you're working on now or maybe projects that are coming up where, our community is a mix of people. So we have software engineers, product managers, marketers, we have people that might want to be, they're maybe in college still and they might want to be an ambassador, a part of the movement in that way. What kind of roles do you guys, have now or have coming up very shortly that you could leverage some folks from our Hustle Win community for?
Yeah, great. Wow. So to be honest, we're currently, I guess in a week, we'll have the finalized version of our ambassadors program. So ambassadors, contact us first of all, if you're blind or visually impaired yourself, great, contact us. We'd love to work with you. But also if you care about this mission and vision and inclusion in general, please contact us. There could be different positions that we're now defining. Some of them could be in order to reach out to the community, to reach out to the business community as well. Others could be more on social media and content creation. So I'm sure you probably have people around that. But as a mindset, I always share as a mindset, I'm always looking for creative and smart people that are passionate about what we're trying to achieve here. I can give different examples of people who reached out to us in the past few years. We didn't have anything open on our job board, but people contact us because they love what we're doing and they want to be part of it. And we ended up to do something with them because when there is a motivation and skills, sometimes immediately, sometimes it can take a little bit longer. But I'd love to work with these type of people who are passionate about it. So absolutely.
For folks listening or for folks watching, would you say that sales and marketing, like obviously you're saying it kind of runs the gamut. If you're passionate about the space, you guys should connect. I think that's great. But for more specificity, is sales and marketing going to be a focus for the foreseeable?
Yes.
Okay.
Even more so on sales, but yes, sales and marketing. And if mentioning sales, I must say one of the things, I'm obviously biased, but one of the things I love, and I think the rest of the team as well, when I sell So we're selling to facilities, right? It's a completely free app to our users. Our users download the app, Android and iPhone. They get it completely free, completely anonymous, by the way. There's no sign in there. And we're selling to the McDonald's, Pizza Hut, and companies of the world. When we do that, it almost never feels like we're selling. We're talking to them in order, and how can they make their environment more accessible? So when the deal is even done, it's like you don't, yeah, you have the joy of, yeah, I closed the deal as a salesperson, but you mainly, I think, for me, I have the satisfaction of, I've made a good impact in that area. Like this place is now more accessible than it used to be. More people can enjoy it. So absolutely, if, I would say if you're listening to this and you are more around the marketing and sales professions, that's more specific. I'll be even more specific in a week or two once we're finalizing our positions. But yeah.
Got it. Yeah, I think this will probably go out shortly here after this week or next week. So we'll stay connected. But I love that they're talking about the fulfillment component of it. And I think, this podcast, I love getting to talk to people that make big impact. And I think impact for me is defined as within their company, right? So I get to talk to a lot of founders and CEOs. So they by natively like have a lot of impact, but then also people that have big impact in the world. I think we've all worked at companies or know of companies where it's kind of the used car sales thing where you just feel like you're selling something that you might not be fully committed to, and maybe it doesn't make the difference you want to have, and that's not so fulfilling. But what you guys do is really interesting because it really is a win-win. So I can understand what you mean.
And our main focus right now is the U.S. market. So no, not the. I guess you probably have listeners from all around the world. So we do have activities on the other side, and don't let that hold you. But if you're in the U.S., that's mainly our focus right now. And if you have experience with working with enterprises or businesses like a B2B, that's great. It doesn't necessarily, a lot of time when we talk about what we do, so people tend to think about airports and hospitals and like big complexes, locations, which yes, we're working with them as well. But not only, we also work with small restaurants. We also work with, small social centers and performing arts and museums. So it doesn't really matter. And then the bigger vision, we're trying to have anywhere eventually in the world accessible. So yeah, if you have if every one of the listeners is having some specific experience there, that's even a good advantage.
Well, before we close out, I want to ask this question. This question, I love asking this, but specifically with you, it's been burning this whole time that I've wanted to ask. How did you end up here? Why this specific thing? Why are you? It seems like you don't seem like you have any visual impairment. You and I are on this video call, and
right.
So talk to me about how you became obsessed with solving this challenge.
Yes, it's a good question. At the beginning, when I've been asked about this, when we started the company 5 years ago, I used to say by accident. Today, I'm saying it's by luck. A lot of luck. It wasn't an accident. It was a real luck. What happened is that I have a really bad orientation skills. I'm this friend where wherever you go with, and he's turning right, although it's obvious that we need to turn left because we just been there a minute ago. So I'm this guy. I have a horrible orientation skills, and I have a lot of stories about it. But bottom line, I'm very familiar with the frustration of not knowing where you are and where to go. And when we started to work on that, we thought, okay, if we'll be able to solve my issue to those that have much more severe orientation challenges, like people who are blind or visually impaired, you ultimately will be able to solve it to myself and to anyone else on earth, right? So we started to speak with users, and we could hear their chain going down, like, wow. So that's exactly the type of wow effect that you want to have again when you build a product. At the time, my grandfather turned to be blind. It was one of my best friends. So that's kind of also triggered for me, of looking into this community. And as we start, getting into this world, we fall in love. We just completely fall in love with the impact that it makes and creates for people. We have users that are actually depending on this. Like, they're telling us we're not leaving our home without the app open and fully charged, to be fair, and fully charged. And this is something like, oh my God, the real people out there that really, developed some dependency on it for their day-to-day life. That's a stronger, that's a very big responsibility that I always feel. And I feel I'm lucky to have that, because again, as you said, it's the satisfaction you get out of your work, knowing at the end of the day that you've done something important. So yeah, if anyone is thinking that, we're here.
That is funny. That kind of cracks me up. I don't want to get too personal or weird, but today my brother flew in today, and my brother has early onset dementia. He's only in his 50s. And so when we talk about being lost and whatever, and our healthcare system in the States is a little bit messed up at the moment, and there's a lot of conflicting information on how to deal with a lot of these inflammatory based diseases, and of which I would consider Alzheimer's. But talk about being lost and whatever, and it's like I can understand you develop a passion for this group of people who, they don't necessarily have a voice. They're 90% of them can't even read the information that's out there. That's our best foot forward. So like when the way that you put that, your mission and kind of how you got into this, man, it's like, it really like just resonates with me, because there's something really powerful about trying to help someone that isn't just you. There's something about helping a bigger group of people. So I think what you guys are doing is really cool. I'm sorry.
No, sure. I just wanted to add to that, to be completely transparent with you and the audience, right? At the beginning, because I've been asked a lot about so what is your connection? Do you have a brother who's blind, or father? Like, how do you like it? And sometimes I used to feel like, well, I don't, but I still very much care about it, like really deeply in my bones about it. But I don't have that brother or sister. And I think in today, actually think today it's kind of an advantage, because the mission of having this marginalized community included in our society isn't their interest. It is, but it's not only their interest; it's also our whole society interest. So I'm happy to represent, the other side, not just necessarily this community, but the society, if you will, in the interest of providing and providing their independence and having them fully included in our community. Having them. Having the blind and visually impaired community participating in everything we do is on our interest. It's not just on their interest.
Right.
It's on our interest.
Right.
So
almost the business. I don't want to make it, as a human being, there's this ethics component of it, which is really powerful.
Sure.
And I don't want to overlook that, but it's a better business decision for enterprises, and it's just a better business decision, period.
Sure.
In addition to being the right thing to do, I think.
So there's a few reasons. There's a few reasons why enterprises like to work with us. Some of them just understand it's the right thing to do, right? It's just from the ethical standpoint. Others understand that it's just good business, and it's a good business because it helps with their branding, it helps with their marketing. It's also literally opening up the doors to more people, which influence the bottom line. It's helping them to improve their ADA compliance. Remember, we talk about the ADA and that it has to be effective, the science, to everyone. So guess what? We just realized it's not really effective for everyone, even if they have Braille on it. So it's helping them from that aspect as well. And at the end of the day, we've built and designed a system to be a reasonable accommodation. That's also a legal term here. It's something that we make it very, very simple and easy for enterprises and companies to adopt, because ultimately we would like it to be everywhere. So yeah, that's the business model. It's a subscription that they usually pay. Most of our contracts are 3 years or more, but we can also do a 1-year subscription. It's completely free to our users, as I mentioned before, 26 different languages. I'm excited about bringing what we've done in Israel and in Europe in the past 5 years to the US market. And I believe the best way we could do it was passionate people, as I said before. So
I love that. Well, that's a perfect ending note for us. I really enjoyed our time together, but tell our listeners where they can find you. We're going to post a thing on hustling, and then this video is going to go out in a newsletter.
Yeah.
But tell our audience if you have a podcast, or tell us about the RightHear website and where they can learn more about you and the company.
Absolutely. So RightHear's website is RIGHT-HEAR, right here, like hearing. You're probably going to have the link somewhere there. I hope you will. So that's our website. My email is Idan, IDAN, at right-hear.com. I'm also available on LinkedIn, so just look for Idan Meir on LinkedIn. And yeah, don't hesitate. If you have a thought, if you're considering, talk to us. We're here. Sometimes it takes us a little bit longer to reply, but we're always replying to everyone who's contacting us. And that's it. That's it.
Perfect. Thanks so much. I really appreciate your time today.
Thank you. It was a great opportunity, and for everyone who was listening.